The X-Wing is ready for some more space blasting action with today's game, Planet Smashers, for your Atari 7800, but I don't think that planet's getting smashed. It looks like it's getting blasted. Oh well, let's go ahead and take Planet Blasters, pop it in my Atari 7800 Pro system, and see how the game holds up today. Let's go to the game. Planet Smashers was published by Atari and carries the copyright year of 1990, making it yet another late release for the system. It was made by James Zelowiski for DataFast Computer Services. According to the manual, while exploring a far-off region of the cosmos, your best friend's starship was ambushed by hostile aliens from a remote galaxy. These hostile aliens have informed Earth that they are sending a crack intergalactic invasion force, the Planet Smashers, to take over your planet. Dun dun dun! You know that with a name like Planet Smashers, these guys are not going to leap at a chance to vacation in Geneva to talk peace. These vicious aliens murdered your friend. They intend to pillage your planet and enslave your fellow humans. Besides, they're really ugly, and now we're shallow all of a sudden. You can't wait to take your starship out to meet these ill-begotten space cadets. You can't allow even one Planet Smasher to reach the Earth. Planet Smashers is a vertically scrolling shooter for 1 or 2 players alternating, and has 2 modes of difficulty, easy and hard. In the 2-player game, each player can select their own difficulty. The game has 7 levels, with a boss at the end of each level. For the controls, use the joystick to move your ship, the left button to fire, and the right button to use a temporary cloak if you have one. On the bottom of your screen is a status bar. Starting on the left side is your warp status. Sometimes cargo ships will drop colored capsules that change colors when shot. Each stage has a 3-color warp code that will warp you to the end boss of that stage. On the easy difficulty, these codes are always the same, but they are random on hard. When you pick up a color, it will either show up solid if it belongs in the first empty slot, or it will blink in a different slot telling you that you will need to collect it later, or it will not show up at all if it's not part of that stage's code. Next on the status bar is the number of ships you have in reserve, followed by the range bar that shows you how much further you have to go to reach the stage boss without using a warp code. Next is your shield meter. Once it empties, it will blink, notifying you that the next shot you take will destroy you. You can add to your shield meter by collecting S capsules. However, these capsules, just like every other capsule except for the color capsules, can be destroyed if you shoot them too much. Next on the status bar is your cloak. You earn cloaks by collecting C capsules. You can activate a cloak by pressing the right button, making you temporarily invisible. While cloaked, the enemies are less likely to shoot you, but you can still take damage and be destroyed. Next on your status bar is an Earth Shield meter. Every time an enemy or rock passes you, it takes a little bit off of the shield. When you face a boss, you need to take out several sections, some of which affects the speed of the boss and others which affects his weapons. If you die facing a boss, but you have a life in reserve, you will move on to the next stage, but a large portion of the Earth Shield meter will disappear. If you defeat the boss, you will face a meteor shower before the next stage begins. If the Earth Shield fully depletes, you will lose any reserve ships you have. Next on the status bar is your score. Scoring wise, you get 25 points if you shoot one of the enemy's shots. You get 100 to 500 points for defeating your basic enemies, 1,000 points for defeating a section of a boss, and 5,000 points and up for defeating the bosses themselves. You can upgrade your weapons up to 10 levels by collecting W capsules. Your standard weapon doesn't have auto-fire, but all the upgrades do. If you lose a ship, you also lose a couple of your weapon upgrades. There is also a changing extra ship capsule. If you touch it while it looks like a ship, you will get an extra ship, but if it changes, touching it will cost you a life. If you defeat all the bosses, you win, but according to the manual, in a 2-player game, both players have to defeat all the bosses to save the Earth. The game also has an ending, which is pretty unique for a 7800 title. I won't spoil it here, but basically it leads to the beginning of Alien Brigade on the 7800. This is ironic since the ending of Alien Brigade leads to the beginning of Planet Smashers, so basically both these games are both sequels and prequels to one another, creating a Mobius strip of a timeline for them. Graphically speaking, I thought your ship looked pretty lame. The enemies looked okay, and the bosses looked kinda cool, and the game over screen looked really great. sound and music-wise, the game has a great opening theme, but the sound effects are merely okay, except for the unfortunate sound of your ship firing, which is actually the worst sound of the game and might be irritating to some. Family-friendly wise, all you have is generic space shooting action. If this game was released today, my guess is it would get an E for everyone rating. At the time I researched on eBay including shipping, the game was quite hard to come by. There was one loose copy that sold for $37 in poor condition and one complete copy that sold for $53. So what did I think of Planet Smashers? I thought that it was a really good shooter, but it's also really hard, even on the easy setting. In fact, the only way I could get to the ending of the game was to use an invincibility cheat, and the first time I got to the ending of the game, it skipped right over the ending since I was pressing buttons and moving to keep firing at the last boss, but that registered as me wanting to skip the ending as soon as it started. But on the bright side, at least the game does have a cheat that you can find online, which is rare for a 7800 title. It would have been nice if the game had an easier setting, maybe one where you couldn't blow up your own weapon power-up capsules, and where it was a little easier to avoid all the enemy fire. It would have also been nice if when a boss defeated you, you could keep fighting them with your next life rather than just move on and taking a big hit on your shield. But overall the game controls very well, and I found it to be a fun experience. So where am I going to rank Planet Smashers? Somewhere in the 20s. I'd rather destroy some more buildings than Rampage at 22, but I do like the variety in Planet Smashers more than Asteroids at 23. So out of the 55 games I've now ranked on the 7800, Planet Smashers is blasting into the 23 position. Planet Smashers is a very tough but enjoyable shooter on the 7800. So what do you think of the game? Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons and follow me both on the Facebook or the Twitter. I'm also a member of the Retro Junkies Network. At this time, I'd like to thank the extraordinary Janitor Sean from the Atari 7800 Homebrew Podcast for supporting the show through Patreon. Thank you, Sean. If you appreciate the work I do, please consider joining the League of Extraordinary Patreon Supporters by signing up at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer for as little as $1 a month. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, especially if your friends are going out in alien space territory.